Hey there, Heather. Ho there. It's Jeff Cutter Diamond welcoming you to yet another Cutter Top 10 video. Today we're looking at NFL stuff because I'm wearing Patriot Pat on my shirt and I don't have my cat with me. She's upstairs sleeping. Anyway, today we're going to look at the top 10 announcer calls in NFL history. The NFL has had some great announcer pairings in the past and all that, so we're going to be talking about some of the best around. So anyway, here we go. Well, one of the honorable mentions does have to do with the Patriots. In 2002, when the Pats shocked the Rams to win their first Super Bowl, John Madden and Pat Summerall were doing the call for Fox, and John Madden said that basically that the Patriots were going to try to run down the clock and then play for overtime. And Pat Summerall said, just we're going to wait 1 minute and all that, and then of course they get the winning field goal. All right, here we go. Number 10 is Gus Johnson 2009 first week, Denver Cincy. The first week of the 2009 season was decent. The NFL decided because it was the 50th anniversary of the AFL to throw together a pair of AFL rivals, American Football League. It would be the Bills versus the Patriots and the Raiders versus the Chiefs, I think. And the fact of the matter was that, that was big. And then there was this big game between the Ravens and the Broncos and the Bengals. I remember where I was that week. I was actually in the Bahamas. Believe it or not, I was in the Bahamas that week because it was the time for that sports trivia thing that I went to in 2009 in the Bahamas. But I was there in the Bahamas. So anyway, yeah. And then somehow the Kyle Orton was back in the um, pocket, had to throw a deep pass because the Broncos were down by a few points with like a minute left, and then it popped up in the air. Popped up in the air. Stokely! Wow! We're on the sideline! Touchdown! Unbelievable! And Gus Johnson went bonkers after Stokely made that call. Gus Johnson should definitely do the NFL. I mean, he's on Fox. He should be doing like Fox games and all that. I know Joe Davis is good in that other guy, but still. That's kind of weird. Number 9 is Wide Right Super Bowl 25. So Super Bowl 25 was what the third Super Bowl that ABC did. Fox wouldn't do Super Bowls for a while because Fox didn't have NFL rights or anything, but ABC had Monday Night Football since 1970. But they didn't really have a chance for the Super Bowl until 1985. So what ended up happening was that Super Bowl 25 was on ABC. It was the Bills was the Giants. The Bills crushed the Raiders in the AFC title game. The NFC title game. The Giants were so close to blowing it against the Niners, but Matt Barr kicked 5 field goals to outscore the Niners by himself. And it was a tight game. It was 20-19, and then Scott Norwood would challenge on a 48-yard field goal on grass, as Scott Norwood rarely kicked on grass because Buffalo was always on turf. And then with 5 seconds left, he pushed it to the right. No good. Wide right. As Al Michaels would punctuate that finish with the call. Number 8 is the Catch 2 1998 NFC wildcard game. The 98 NFC wildcard game between the Niners and the Packers was crazy enough as is. Allegedly, Jerry Rice had fumbled the ball, but they said his knee touched when his knee didn't. That was one of the catalysts for instant replay the next year. But yeah, it was huge. Packers and Niners. Packers were the two-time defending NFC champions. And then, Joe Starkey, who did the towel game, the game, the laterals in 1982, Kevin Mullins play. That was him. He did the Niners radio call since 1988, and he's there. Said a lot of things. Young throws. Owens, Owens, Owens. Got the ball. He caught it. Terrell Owens had dropped passes left, right, and center, but then he managed to make the call, and he got it. So The Niners beat the Packers. It was a little controversial, of course, with that race play, but we'll see what I want to say what happened. All right, number 7 is Super Bowl 49 in 2015 when the Seahawks lost to the um, Patriots. Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth were calling the game for NBC, and the Patriots survived the Seahawks. It almost didn't work. Jermaine Kersey made a fantastic catch that should have been intercepted, but he made the catch, and then they were down at the 1. Instead of giving Marshawn Lynch the ball at the 1 and then basically have the Seahawks win the game, they decided to pass for it. I think it was trying to trick the Patriots, but Malcolm Butler found it. Russell Wilson. It's intercepted at the goal line by Malcolm Butler. Al Michaels did his job, and Butler sealed the Patriots' win. But Seattle got the revenge this past year. Number 6 is Beastquake 2011. NBC would do the wild card games and all that at times, and it was the Saints versus the Seahawks. The Saints were the defending Super Bowl champions. The Seahawks were the NFC West champions, despite being 7-9. They had to beat the Rams on the final day, and on tiebreak, the Seahawks got to be the 4 seed. Yep, each division winner got to host a game. And since the Saints were badly outdoing the Seahawks, the Saints did their job. And all of a sudden, that's what happened. The Saints and Seahawks were battling, but then they gave the ball to Marshawn Lynch. Marshawn Lynch still going. Stiff arm. Touchdown. I forget who the NBC guy was. I would say Tom Hammond, but I might be wrong. But yeah, it wasn't the traditional NBC guy, but yeah. And it was Beastquake. It actually shook the stadium and actually registered a mark on the seismic charts. Seattle would shock New Orleans, and that was big. Number 5 is the Minneapolis Miracle 2018. The Saints again are in this list. They took on the Vikings. The Saints were looking for a massive road win against Minnesota. I picked New Orleans to beat Minnesota. I'm like, somehow, some way, Drew Brees is going to pull it off. And I was so close to having that. And then all of a sudden, Minnesota was trying to find someone. And then Stephon Diggs caught the ball. The worst part was the New Orleans defender actually tried to rush up right out there to meet him and tackle him instead of falling back, because if the defender had not rushed at him and Diggs did the Olay move, the Saints defender would have probably put him down. They would have had to call timeout and kick a winning field goal. But anyway, Diggs made the catch, and Paul Allen, the radio guy, made an eruption on the Minneapolis Miracle. Are you kidding me? Stand down, touchdown. Oh. Although Paul Allen also made a famous call when the Vikings took on the Saints in the 2009-10 NFC title game, which he berated Brett Favre for passing the ball when he could have just ran and got 10 plus yards for a 50-yard field goal try. This isn't Minnesota. This isn't Detroit. This is for the Super Bowl. Anyway, that was brutal. Number 4 is the helmet catch from Super Bowl 42. Fox had this game. Joe Buck and Troy Aikman were calling the game. The Patriots had a slim lead on the Giants, and it looked like they were going to win and finish the season 19-0. Well, unfortunately, on 3rd and 5, as Joe Buck described, Manny has time still. But no, do they have to wrap up? No, they don't. Manny escapes, throws it down, and it's caught by Tyree. And then, of course, Eli was nearly sacked. If it wasn't for him still having forward momentum, they would have called the play dead. But Eli got out of it and then threw a high ball with David Tyree making the catch, needing to pin it on his helmet because Ronnie Harrison was there for the Patriots. And then, of course, Patsko Burr scored the winning touchdown and fucked my team over. Sorry, that's just how I feel. Number 3 is The Catch, 1982. You know The Catch, Montana to Clark, with Clark going all the way up and making the catch and all that. Now, contrary to public belief, everyone knew that CBS would have the NFC title game, and yeah, everyone knew that it would be definitely Summerall Madden. But unfortunately, it wasn't Summerall Madden. It was actually Vin Scully and Hank Stram who would be calling the game for CBS. because Finn Scully was leaving CBS for NBC because NBC was needing a new baseball announcer. Joe Gargiola was doing other things, so Finn Scully was signed from CBS to NBC. It was just amazing. But yeah, Finn Scully, they gave Finn Scully the NFC title game as kind of a go away present. And then he's like, Montana, searching, back of the end zone, Clark, gotcha. He caught it, touchdown, Clark. It's a man, how's that candlestick? It was just amazing what the catch. But contrary to popular belief, that game did not end on the catch. Dallas still had the ball, and Dallas still had time to go down the field for a winning field goal. They were down by only 1 point. Danny Wade unfortunately fumbled the ball at the 50, and San Fran recovered it. Number 2 is the Immaculate Reception. Kirk Gowdy calling the game for ABC, the 72 divisional matchup between the Raiders and the Steelers. And the Raiders were looking to win in Pittsburgh. They were up 7-0 on a touchdown. No, sorry, 7-6 on a touchdown by Ken Stabler. And then Kirk Gowdy was doing a call for NBC. Last chance for the Steelers. Bradshaw looks in the air, throws it. There's a collision, and the ball's up. Franco Harris. Franco Harris got the ball. He's ready. He's over. Through. Franco Harris. You talk about your Christmas miracles. This is the miracle of all miracles. Bradshaw didn't know where the ball was going. There was a collision. Of course, Franco Harris made that play, and it was sad because Franco Harris died just days before the 50th anniversary of the Immaculate Reception because he was going to be feted for that. And number 1 is the Music City Miracle Titans Bills. So this will be the first playoff game in the 21st century and all that. Not the new millennium as people think, because there was no year 0 in the millennium. So it was year 1 is the millennium, from 1 to 1000, 1001 to 2000, and then the millennium's 2001, as Jerry Seinfeld told us. But anyway, yeah, the 2000 wildcard, they moved the game to January 8th. They didn't want the playoffs to start on January 1st, 2000, because, you never know if the world was going to end with the computer crash. Never did. Thank goodness for that. But anyway, yeah. So the Titans were playing the Bills. The Bills were up 16-15, and then Steve Christie decided to kick it high and short and didn't want anything to happen. They wanted the time to run down and all that. And then all that. As Mike Keefe says, do the Titans still have a miracle? Pat Ryan, former Jets quarterback, was the color commentating. Kick it off to Dyson. Dyson, going to find some, throws backwards. Wycheck pitches the ball. Dyson, he's got 40. He's got it. He's got it. 30. Touchdown, Titans. There are no flags on the field. Tennessee has pulled off a miracle. Everyone thought that Tennessee, that lateral from Wycheck to Dyson was a forward pass. It felt that way, but it was too inconclusive, if you will. And then the officials on the field said, ruling field stands, touchdown, thank you. And the Titans beat the Bills. And for 17 years, the Bills could not even make the playoffs. And everyone thought that the Music City Miracle was basically a jinx on them. I don't blame them one bit, but that's what happened. Anyhow, I'm Jeff Diamond at 2.